got that cherry bomb.
Welcome back to Breaking Beauty podcast, Bobbi Brown.
It's in the house.
We're thrilled that you're joining us. Thank you so much for making the time.
Oh, my pleasure. You have such a great voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I listening to myself back, I beg to differ, but I appreciate the compliment.
I don't think anyone likes to hear themselves talk.
No.
Agreed.
But you were here with us back in 2018. I did not get the chance to meet you, but Carlene did. And you guys were chatting in a closet at Founder Made or something.
I mean, you do all the shoots. You've done all these shoots for many years. You're scrappy. We're scrappy.
You have to be scrappy. I've been scrappy my whole life.
Yeah. So it didn't offend you.
No.
It didn't take you by surprise.
No.
Yeah. But, so much has happened since 2018. And congratulations on your book, your 10th book.
My 10th book.
Incredible. I read it on the beach this summer.
Still Bobbi.
Even though I was on vacation, I was like, I really shouldn't be thinking about beauty but I was like, can't help myself. Got to dive into your book. So it was awesome. So tell us what your process was like for writing this, because it's a memoir, which is quite different than your other books, which were very much how-to and tutorials and wonderful in their own way. But it struck me that you were very much like an archivist, because you have the original invite for your brand, and you had all these cool photos of your kids young where you're working, and you also admit that you don't even know really how to type. So how does that work?
Okay, so I definitely don't know how to type, but I have since figured out how to get anything done I need to get done.
Yeah.
I am the ultimate hacker. I was a hacker mom, a hacker, employee, a hacker wife. I know how to get anything done. But this is my 10th book, and this is my story. And I really did not set out to write a memoir. The story is an agent came to my office and said, we have to do your memoir. I said, I don't want to do a memoir. And she said, no, we just need to tell your story, because your story helps so many people, including herself, and how you do things and how you think about things. So she got me a book deal. So I said, okay.
Just like that.
Yeah. And then I had a ghostwriter that I spoke to on the phone a couple times a week.
Yeah.
And I did it while I was walking in the park. So I never had more steps in my life.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cathartic.
Yeah.
It was really interesting for me to go way back.
Yeah. And all the photos and everything. You had all of that just at the ready?
I'm this crazy documentarian of everything. And of course, I have 3 kids. I have all their photos. I have all our vacation. If my husband says, where's the picture when Dylan was this, I will automatically think I know what folder it's in. Sometimes it's under, let's say, Paris. Sometimes it's under family trip. And I've just always been crazy that way. And my life are really pictures. I mean, I think in visual terms and I think in pictures. And some of my beauty books, by the way, I did the photos first and then we wrote the book.
Oh, wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, to me.
Makes sense, yes.
Not to the publisher, but to me.
I remember from your website that, I don't know if you still have it, but on your blog, it was endless content of you backstage and behind the scenes and working with celebrities. You must just have the best photo albums at home. Right?
I do. And I have photo albums up until iPhone.
Right.
Right
Yes.
now, then I have it. Then I have it all digitally.
Yeah, that's everybody. You're
Polaroids, so cool, so cool.
And I have a secret Instagram. It's not really a secret, but it's called BB Portfolio.
Okay.
So it's all old photos and different makeups I've done and different memories.
Oh, can anyone access it?
Anyone can access it. It's
okay, we'll link to that.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Well, check it out for inspo. And I was really taken with how you shared so many personal stories in your book. And for instance, you were really forthcoming about some of the mental health challenges that your family experienced growing up. Was that the first time that you really talked about that publicly?
I think so. I mean, no one really asked me before. They asked me questions about my mom and how she introduced me to beauty. And so, no, and especially when she was alive, it wasn't my story to tell. And, I told the story in the book, mostly how I dealt with it. And because it's not my story. And I tried to be, I didn't tell all, the intensities. Anyone that experiences mental illness from a family member, they know what it's like. It's pretty rough.
Right.
Yeah.
that like you said, what made you want to open up about something so deeply personal?
I just thought it was important because the story in the book is things happen that are out of your control, but it's what you do with the information that makes the difference, right? I mean, I could have acted differently, I could have thought differently, and I somehow have this resilience and I understand what the situation is and I don't let it define me.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so I wanted to share that.
Yeah, we were, because you mentioned it's not your story to tell, but it would have impacted you.
Mhm.
It would have been
Right.
a part of your formative being.
Sure.
And so I wonder how, reflecting back, like how you are today, it's so hard to separate with you, Bobbi, like your personal and your professional, because we know that your professional is like
Yeah.
so much of your being is in it. So like, how do you think that experience kind of formed
Hmm.
who you are today?
Well, I think certainly it is, I've always been an empathetic person.
Mhm.
I do understand that people go through things. And as a makeup artist, you work with women and everyone's got a story,
Mhm.
either they're going through menopause or they just had a baby or they're, a new
Mhm.
widower or whatever, widow. And, I hear the stories. I mean, I don't care how famous you are, how
Mhm.
regular you are,
Mhm.
everyone has a story. So I've always been someone that loves telling stories. And, when it came time to tell my story, it happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All these things really happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be like you said, your publisher, when they came to you, they were talking about the inspiration. And I think that you even opening up about that because it was
Right.
a different time and
Right.
people talking about it now, like you
Right.
are, I think it's going to give people the permission to maybe
Right.
share their own
Right.
experience, right?
Right. And then it's very funny you say permission.
Yeah.
For me, when I was a young mom, trying to navigate things and just it was rough. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I
Yeah.
had these, at the time, two little kids, and I was working and traveling and going on early TV shows. And, I tried so hard to, be perfect and get it all together. And I heard Tina Brown once talk, and someone said, "Well, how did you do this?" And she goes, "Honestly, it was a shit show." She
Mhm.
said, "It was a mess. My house was a mess. My kids were a mess. I arrived at work, and it gave me permission to say, you're right.
Yeah.
It's okay. I am still doing my work. I'm getting it
Yeah.
done. I used to arrive at Neiman Marcus, after traveling to Texas and my kids had been up all night. And one time I walked into Neiman Marcus and I had baby spit up down the back of my blazer,
Yeah.
and it was like, oops, so we
Yeah.
quickly cleaned it and I went on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I realized all this stuff is normal part of life.
Yeah.
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 That's the superpower that moms have. You just do
Yeah,
it. How
you
you do
do.
it, who knows? You just do it
Right.
though.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved your stories about coming up as a makeup artist, and definitely I think it's notable, like the amount of rejection that you cop to. And again, going back to that resilience idea, and the one story that stuck with me was how you had written a letter to an agent and they marked it all up in red and they were like, you can't even get your grammar straight, like don't even try,
And
kind
went to
of
the
thing.
trouble of mailing it back
Yeah.
to you, right? They
A
didn't just
month
like
later,
yeah.
like 4 months later, I got the letter back. It was actually my stepfather's cousin who was a very successful producer in Hollywood. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to write this guy a letter and
Yeah.
he's going to say, come on out, kid. I'll get you an internship.
Yeah,
I'll get
yeah.
you a job. And he did not. It literally was with a bright marker.
Yeah.
He corrected the entire letter and said, next time you write a letter, check your grammar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gutted.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
gutted, but it was a good lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever turn that around and maybe do that to someone else ever?
No,
No.
no, but I, I get resumes all the time.
Yeah.
And I always will be truthful and say, if this resume lands on someone's pile with 100 other, no one's going to look at it.
Yeah.
It does not set you apart. What could you do?
This is the truth of Generation X, though, is like, this is how it was. This is how we were.
Yeah.
And, coming up in the fashion magazine industry, it was so, to watch this evolution, this revolution, really, where that, that kind of harshness became unacceptable, which is a good thing. But this is our history. This
Right.
is how we came up, especially in fashion. It was rough.
Mm-hmm. It was rough, and I remember being in a bathroom once, pumping because I had just had a baby,
Mhm.
and Polly Mellon, the famous,
Mhm.
editor of Vogue, I hear her screaming, "Where's Bobbi Brown?" And I didn't tell anyone that I was in the bathroom pumping.
Yeah.
And, it was the early 90s. I'm sure she thought I was doing something else in the bathroom,
Right,
which I
right.
wasn't. And when I was a wreck, and when I finally walked out of there, I went up to her and I said, I apologize, Polly, I was. And she goes, "Oh, when I had my baby, I nursed all the babies in there, And so it was a moment of bonding. But
Yeah.
no one talked about those things
of
back then.
course.
Oh, yeah.
You talk a lot in the book about people didn't jive with your makeup style, especially in the 80s. You're not about the contoured clown makeup face. But how did you know to just keep going? Because a lot of people would be like, gonna pack it in now. Like, people don't like my makeup, you know?
I'm not a packer-inner.
Yeah.
I'm not a packer-inner. I'm like, "Okay, that didn't work. How do I do it differently?"
Yeah.
Right.
And I literally would come home every single night, and I would take my entire makeup bag, and I'd throw it on the ground and reorganize it. And I realized, okay, I only need these clown colors sometimes. So I put those in a Ziploc. And then I kind of said, I don't need 14 taupes. I just need the best one, and let me go through and choose them. So I was always working on how I could do things easier and better.
Right. The
Mhm.
power of the edit,
Yeah.
And in the book, you even say, and I think a lot of people might be surprised, quote say, "My best talent was that I wasn't a skilled artist. This forced me to rely on what I could do. And that's what I could do was speak to everyday women." But people think of you, Bobbi Brown, makeup artist. It's
Right.
in your title, but you're saying, I wasn't a skilled
Well, I
artist.
wasn't a painter. Like, I would look
Yeah.
at,
Yeah.
some of the, my contemporaries, and they would just sculpt and paint, and,
Mhm.
I'd be in awe, but I tried and it didn't work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I realized, wow, they look so much better when I put a bronzer all over their face. Wow, they look better when I just, line their eye with a little bit of brown smoke and not,
Mhm.
blues and yellows. So I just started doing that. And people started to like it. And no
Mhm.
one said, "No, no, 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 this is not right."
Right.
And if they didn't like what I did, they didn't ask me back.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I found other people that really liked what I did, but I think they also liked having me around because I was nice, I was always on time, I spoke to everybody, I asked what I could do to help,
Yeah.
I did things without asking, and I thanked people for hiring me. And so I think that kinda started my career, and I worked on my skill to get better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important lesson too coming up is that idea of just like do what you do really well, nicely, and
Mhm.
even the small things.
Right.
People love working with people they like and
Right.
where things just go smoothly. So,
But it wasn't the norm when I was a young makeup artist.
right.
If you had an attitude, if you were late, if you were fabulous, those people got hired
Yeah,
again,
they're like,
Yeah,
"Creative
right?
genius,
the
bring them
ego.
back."
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. And,
Yes.
I was always the nice girl,
Right.
sitting at a table with all these incredibly talented hairdressers from other countries and
Mhm.
stylists and, supermodels. I remember one shoot, we were in a location van for Vogue. We were told to show up at, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Of course, I did. The hairdresser did. The model, who was Linda Evangelista, think she finally showed up at 2:30, and instead of getting in trouble, the editor said, "Oh, Linda, you're here. Here's a bottle of champagne. Thank you so much for coming." And I remember the hairdresser and I just looked at each other like, "You gotta be kidding." We'd been sitting there for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was
Yeah,
that was
Yeah.
that was
how it
then.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
and
really
and the
was.
editor will probably be the first one to be like, "So, Bobby, how long's this gonna
Right.
take?"
Yeah, and by the way,
We're losing our light.
and guess what? I left at 5 or 6 o'clock because I had to go home to my kids,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Yeah, that was, that's the sacrifice. Well, it's
Right,
not sacrifice, but you had to do it. You have 2
right,
jobs. You're a
right.
makeup artist and a mom,
And I
right?
always left an assistant. I didn't
Yeah.
just walk out the door.
Yeah.
And, then I started telling people before I would even take the job. I could do it, but I leave at a certain time.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Because, you sit around on set, you sit around on set, you sit around on set, and all of a sudden you start working and you're like, guys, I've been here all day. I
Yeah,
gotta go.
Yeah.
yeah, exact boundaries,
Efficiencies.
that was
Yeah.
another thing that
Yeah.
was not a thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Tell us the story about your first Vogue cover with Naomi Campbell.
Like anything, it was a cover try, which, I was more than excited. Patrick Demarchelier was the photographer, and I think the editor was Grace Coddington. I don't remember if it was her or Carlene DeSurf. But DDA did the hair, and it was Naomi Campbell. And she, it was her first Vogue cover, but she was still becoming Naomi. And we had to get up really early and get the model ready and shot at the beach. And I just remember Patrick yelling, "Genial, genial," which means genius, and we shot it. And you didn't know if it was a cover at all.
Right.
And when I heard it was a cover was when my husband showed up at a location van. He was my fiance at the time, and he had the cover of Vogue in his hand to give it to me because he had a friend that worked in corporate in Vogue, and that was like a big moment.
Wow. Wow. And what was the reception from Naomi afterwards?
She wasn't happy. I remember just used I had no lipsticks of my own at the time, but I used a chocolate stain, and I just blotted it on her lips and filled in the whole lip, and I thought it was gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah, I heard she didn't like it.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys are intrinsically bonded on your first
yeah.
Vogue cover, no matter what.
Exactly.
It's a moment in time, right? It really reminded me in your book the power of networking,
Mhm.
which I don't think a lot of people coming up are doing as much
Right.
of, because your stories about it was almost like the Forrest Gump movie where he just ended up in
Yeah.
all of these things because he talked to the right person at the right time. So
Right.
could you share a couple of those?
I mean, there were so many in my career. I mean, my favorite story is still when I was at a book signing for my first book in Florida. I was at Neiman Marcus, the In Circle ladies. Everyone's very fancy. And at the end of my talk, and in those days, I had to just get up and talk. There was no interview.
Yeah.
And so I talked and I demonstrated. And I said, "Are there any questions?" And there was this very little lady sitting in the back of the room. And I always loved old people. Okay, I'm becoming one, but I always loved old people. So I went over to her and she grabbed my hand after I answered her question about keeping lipstick on. And she said, "Honey, I've seen you on the Today Show." I'd been on once. And she said, "Is there anything else you'd want to do in your career?" And I said, "I'd like to be a regular on the Today Show." Where that came from, she said, "Honey, Jeff Zucker is my grandson." And that was, Jeff Zucker was the executive producer at the time. And I got on the show Monday morning.
Amazing.
And stayed for 14 years.
So powerful.
Maybe you've got a little bit of like psychic mysticism or something.
Manifesting.
I don't know. Look, if I didn't say the Today Show, she still might have said something.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
it happened, and it's funny because I'm still really good friends with Jeff Zucker, and
Incredible.
I still tell him that story every time.
Yeah, that's so
That's
fantastic. There's so many more of those gems in the book, everyone. But of course, I love that you served up some major tea. And when I tell you that my jaw dropped when you talked about the royal wedding in your book,
Right.
because the royal wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton, April 2011, and we knew that she used Bobbi Brown products, your namesake brand at the time, which
I did not do her makeup.
Right.
I wish I did. It was one
Right.
of my artists,
Right.
Hannah Martin, who's become quite a sensation in the
Yes,
UK.
yes. But at the time in the press, and I think up
Yeah.
until right now, we were led to believe that she had done her own makeup. So I
Right.
feel like this was a reveal in your
Right.
book, a confirmation.
Ah.
Yeah.
So no, Hannah did her makeup.
Yeah.
She did.
Incredible. And
Yeah.
how did that unfold?
I know that Kate was constantly coming into a Bobby counter buying some of her favorite things. I think Sandwash Pink was one of them. I don't think it's made anymore, but I remember the color. And Hannah did give me some information that I should set my alarm and watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
And so then her and I were texting. I was sitting up. I remember it was like 6 in the morning or something.
Yes.
And we were texting back and forth, and she's like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." I did get a note though that I guess I have hanging now in my office in Montclair from not from Kate, but from her person that wrote her letters saying how much she appreciated, the makeup.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I wore Bobbi Brown on my wedding day.
Aw.
That was my makeup
Yeah.
of choice. Last time we chatted, which was in 2018, and we had you on the pod. We're going to link to that in
Yeah.
our show notes so everybody can hear the origin story of how you launched that brand. But you bootstrapped it. You launched 10 lipsticks at Bergdorf's. And then you left your namesake brand in 2016. And some people don't even know that, by the way.
Which
But
is crazy that people think I'm still there.
yeah,
And they, a lot of people go into the Bobbi Brown counters and ask for Miracle Balm or what the foundation. They
wow,
don't understand the
yes,
concept. Well, it's your
yes.
name. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
sold
like,
my name.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, how?
Yeah.
How is it
Yeah.
possible? And
Yeah.
I think that you couldn't, when you and I chatted,
Yeah.
I don't think there was a lot you could reveal about
Mhm.
that time.
Right.
But you do talk about it in the book. So can you give us an example of just like what was going on when that split happened, and the day you decided to walk out?
Well, the day it all came down, I mean, it was, you read the book and you're like, did I quit or did I get fired?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's two stories. There's my story, and I'm sure there's another story I don't know.
Mhm.
But the day it ended, I still had 4.5 years left on a non-compete of 25 years.
Mm,
And I was
wow.
59 years old. And I was like, okay. I didn't think I was going to do anything else. I didn't know. I had
Yeah.
no thoughts in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember having periods of like sadness, anger, and then total excitement about what
Mm-hmm.
could be.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
you went back and forth between a lot of those emotions for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
And then eventually the sad, angry person went away and the excited person kind of came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Was it a case of like, were they sort of wanting to launch products without your approval or your ideation, or
One
like
of
what,
one one of one of many of those things.
Mm,
Yeah. Kind
Mhm.
of, look, I was used to when my company was bought and I became part of the corporation. Leonard Lauder was the CEO,
Mhm.
and our relationship was so incredibly close. He believed
mhm,
in me so much. I would just have to call him and say, "I've got this idea," and he'd say, "That is a winning idea. Let's do it." I
mhm.
mean, there was another CEO that was there that everything I did, he'd write me thank you notes. Bobby, thank you so much for what you did this season at Bubba, and things changed.
Yeah,
Not every
Yeah.
person has the same style.
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. It seems like that was really, I guess, meant to be, no
Yeah,
matter when you're looking back. Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And look, people get fired.
Yeah.
People break up with people. People lose their jobs.
Yeah.
There's always some reason for it. And if you don't have those things happen to you, you'll have no room for something new
True.
and possibly better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And I did appreciate in your book how honest you were about you were saying to your friends and your family, just like, I know I can fix this. Like I'm just
Right.
gonna get in and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this
Right.
shoot and I'm gonna work with this person
And
and
I'm gonna do
boom,
this.
we're
Yeah.
back on track.
Right. And it didn't work because I didn't have the support I needed to get these
Yeah.
things done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like writing a memoir must be a bit tricky, thinking about like who might get upset. So, what
Right.
was the most difficult thing to write about?
Well, first of all, it's been edited many, many times. And it really got edited by my husband, where
Mm,
we talked about it. He says, "Are you sure you want to say it this way?"
Is he
mm.
a lawyer?
He is a lawyer. He is, yeah, but it
That's
was
helpful.
but it wasn't. There was nothing. Wasn't a legal
Sure.
thing.
Mhm.
It was, why do you need to do that? I didn't want to air
Right.
dirty laundry.
Mhm.
Get me a bottle of tequila and ask me these questions
Right.
off air. I'll tell you the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be that person.
Right.
Right.
I mostly wrote the book. Yes, these things happened, but this is what I did with it.
Mhm.
Right.
And yes, it was hard. And yes, I did feel sad. And yes, I did feel angry, but you get over it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now I seem to be the person that people call me
Mm.
when they're in similar situations.
Yeah.
And I'm
Ah.
like, okay, calm down, breathe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And when I
Yeah.
went through it, by the way, I got a call from Marcia Kilgore, who's now with Beauty Pie. And she
Mhm.
said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No." And we
Mhm.
talked about it, and she talked about her experience. And she goes, "Listen, you got to do this again. And you come here, and I'll bring you to all my labs."
Mm.
Wow.
I mean, that's, a
Yeah.
competitor
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. She was so kind.
That's
Oh, that's great.
incredible. I love to hear
We'll link
those
to that.
Yeah.
collaboration
We'll link to that episode
Yeah.
too,
stories.
guys.
And
We've
then
had
I
Right.
Marcel on our
yeah, and I
show.
think that kind of it
Yeah.
speaks to this new era
It
that we are
does.
in, where founders are
Yeah.
supporting founders. And I will just
Right.
say, I noticed that you're very active on social. You're the first person to comment something positive on another makeup
Mhm.
artist's post,
Yeah.
whether it's Hung launching his
I
line
was so
or
excited. I don't know him. I've
yeah,
met him, but I'm like,
Yeah.
congratulations. It
yeah.
looks great.
Yeah, or even when
Yeah.
Jada from Amicole, I saw
Right.
you posted something on her page, and I was like,
Oh no, I was
that
on the
ma-
phone with her talking to her.
amazing.
Yeah. And by the way, recently Mally called me
Oh,
and Mally
amazing.
left her company.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
excited for Mally because,
Yeah.
she's going to do great things.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're mentoring
Yeah.
now in a new way, these
Right.
second acts of
Right.
sorts, which is
Mhm.
incredible. Like
Yeah.
very, very powerful.
And again, I think the shift that's happened over
Yes.
the years is like that, the idea that there is enough. There's
Mhm.
enough for
There
everyone.
is
It's
enough.
not the way it was before where it
Right.
was like it's an either or, guys. I really think, I mean, we cherry pick all the time in our
Yeah.
beauty routines, and I kind of feel
It's
like the way it
normal.
is now, it's almost like fashion
Right.
designers,
Yeah.
right? It's like just because I
Right.
like Chanel doesn't mean I can't wear Dior or
Right.
whatever. You know
Right.
what I mean?
100%.
It's kind of like that
Yeah.
now.
And I have enough comfortable, is there a word called comfortability?
Mhm.
Or did I just make that up? But I have enough of that I'm comfortable with the products I'm making that
Mhm.
I think they're great. And if people like someone else's better, that's okay.
Yeah.
There's enough people to like
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah, it's not
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
exclusive anymore. What was the one thing you ended up cutting from the book, but you're sort of like, should have left that in?
um, you know what? I don't know. I mean, I don't. I mean, the book is not even out yet,
Yes.
as of this recording, but I don't think there's anything I left out that I
Yeah.
wish was in,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Good. Being editors ourselves, I feel like that
Yeah.
we're always having to cut stuff we don't
Right.
want to cut.
Right.
So I was just curious.
But it's also when there was a due. I mean, the best thing is like,
Yeah.
you guys, this is the last day. You have to hand it back to us.
Yeah.
I was done, right?
Yeah.
Because trust me, if I give me a pen and I'll read my book and I'll edit it today.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You could keep
Yeah.
going
Sometimes the
forever.
deadline is
Yeah.
just good.
Let's talk about Jones Road. You debuted your second makeup brand on the exact day that
Mhm.
your 25-year non-compete with Estee Lauder expired. That was October in 2020. So for anyone who doesn't know Jones Road Beauty, what's your elevator pitch? Let's do the proper introduction.
Jones Road is a clean brand that empowers women to look like themselves, but better, with products that have multi uses that give you, everything you need in a product, whether it's staying power, glow. It's there, but it's simple, and you don't need to be a makeup artist to wear Jones Road.
Yeah. Okay.
How was that?
30 seconds
was
or less.
perfect.
Perfect.
That was perfect.
Write that down. in
Who's
case I
going to
forget.
invest? Somebody hit that button.
So, Bobbi, talk to us about the hero product in your line and the secret to using it well. So, if you want to
Yeah.
demo.
Okay.
Yes. I feel like this product has been misunderstood at times, right?
You know what?
walk us through.
It's by far it's our number one product.
Yeah.
It does incredibly well. What the foundation, by the way, does really close.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, let's see, we've got Magic Hour and we've got Dusty Rose. So what this product does, and it comes like this,
Mm-hmm.
and what it does is it tints the skin.
Mm-hmm.
It is a skincare moisturizer. It can add luminosity if it's one of the, the luminosity color ones like Magic Hour. It also could be used as a blush, a brighter one like Flushed. And you could use it by itself. You could use it over makeup. If you have oily skin, you could use it over powder. And the way to use it is, and we discovered this after we launched it, because people would say, oh, there's no payoff.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no payoff. You break the seal, and I mean just like this, and it activates the color. And
Kind of like creme brulee a little bit.
it's yeah. And then you take it, and then you take your fingers, the way I use it, rub the fingers together, pat it on, and then I take the excess and I put it on my neck, lightly everywhere, but most of it goes here. And then you could use your hands for those flyaways that I always have.
Mm-hmm.
You could use it on your lips. You could use it on your body.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's nothing else on your face, you could use it.
Yeah.
You can also then add like another layer. So this is Magic Hour, which is my favorite luminous that just goes on here.
Little highlighter on the tops of the cheeks.
Yeah, and that's how you use it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Amazing. And it's so easy to carry around because it's like a balm.
Right.
For people who can't see, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a balm texture.
Miracle Balm. So what
Yeah.
was your first impression of it when you got it in your hands? Like, how did you know it was going to be like the hero?
Well, I didn't know. And actually, when it arrived in the mail, happened to be in the office that day. It was during the pandemic, but we must have had vaccines because we were working together. And I was expecting something else because we wrote a brief to this company and I expected something different. And when I got it, I'm like, this isn't what I asked for. But then I dug my fingers in it because I'm a curious person. And then I put it on and I looked in the mirror. I'm like, oh my God, this is a miracle.
And there came the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the foundation? Did you say what the?
I did. I put when I tried what the foundation on my face, I said what the.
Yeah, you can curse.
I do have a necklace that says that I tucked away, but I'll just pull it out.
Put it out. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was on NPR, so I had to put it in.
So that the what the foundation is also in kind of like a tub.
Right. It's in a tub, and I mean, it's the first thing I put on my face today after sunscreen. And it just gives you better looking skin.
Yeah. So it's different than something that you would pump out of a tube.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk about the
we
texture
tried
in
it.
that.
We tried it in a pump and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It took away the magic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's just when you're when you want even skin, but you don't want to look like you're wearing makeup.
Right.
Right.
I put this on.
Yeah.
And I don't need a powder with it because I have very dry skin. But if you
Right.
have oily skin, you just put a little powder on the parts you don't want, luminosity.
Right. Using your fingers, what's your technique?
I use my fingers for everything.
Yeah.
But we have a skin brush that people use for it. So
Right.
it really depends on the person.
We had somebody ask us in our chat room about if you wear moisturizer with it or not.
It depends how dry your skin
Yeah.
is. It is so emollient that you don't need moisturizer with it. And I also could put moisturizer on top of it if I ever put it on and say I need a little bit more moisture.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's probably the biggest difference is it is very emollient.
it is.
Which is why it's in a tub, right?
And we had to work really hard on the formula so that the emolliency doesn't kind of seep into the product.
Right.
Because, you don't want to have like an oil glop
Separation.
and
Yeah.
separation. So we
Yeah.
worked really hard on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like formulation is still fun for you?
Oh, totally fun. It's the
Yeah.
most fun.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's more fun or our photo shoots.
Oh yeah.
I mean, our photo shoots, so my husband and I have a photo and TV studio in Montclair called 18 Label.
Okay.
There's an Instagram for that, but I don't run that one thing. Thank God. So we do our shoots there, and we stopped using stylists because, beauty, you don't need it so
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
And we have a wardrobe closet. So we have a beautiful room that has everything, and we get, we borrow things from designers or
Yeah.
Mhm.
borrow things or buy things on Zara,
Yeah.
to kind of, but our shoots every 2 months, and a lot of the models are on rotation.
Yeah.
They're just people I've found or found on the street. We
Mhm.
hire a couple professional ones,
Mhm.
and it's the same team, same
Yeah.
photographer,
Yeah.
same hairdresser, same nail person, and we just have a ball.
Yeah.
love that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's
love
really
that.
fun.
Very creative.
Yes, and I style them.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I fight with my daughter-in-law because I like big earrings. She likes teeny earrings. But, I'm like, you can always retouch them. We'll do them both ways.
I love that you're still as
Uh,
passionate about that
Yeah.
part of it.
Oh, I am.
As
It's a creative outlet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yes.
painter,
yeah.
but it's my creativity. And I
Yeah.
also edit the pictures. I do the first and the second edit. I choose the hero shot.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the CCO of Bobbi Brown,
Right,
Chief
yeah.
Creative Officer.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, it's amazing to me how the scrappiness that got you into this industry at the
Yeah.
beginning is still very prevalent. And
Yeah.
you're grabbing models, like you said, off the street. You're not hiring, and you're Ubering
Going to the
here.
big
You don't have a black
agencies
card.
and-
Like all of
yeah.
these
I
things.
wish I had a black card.
We do
Schlepping,
too. We were
schlepping
saying-
our bags, but no, we Ubered.
Yeah.
It took us a couple Ubers to get here, but we did it.
Yeah.
But just I love that spirit.
It's just kind of who I am. I mean, even we opened our first store, the first Jones Road store, because my husband had a building and he said, I have a space. Do you want a store? I said, yeah. So we went in there and he's like, all right, where do you want the counter? How do you want this? And I brought my creative director, who at the time was 24 years old. And she's like, So we built it. And then I said, we don't have anything on the walls. And we were opening in a week. Like, we didn't even think about it. So I said to Aaron, go print out all of these great photos that we've done and get the Jones Road tape. And we taped it up. And it looks so cool. It's still our style. And now we have 10 stores. The only difference is now we paint the walls magnet and they're magnetized because then they don't curl up at the corners.
Oh, yeah.
Smart. Yeah. You're giving me lessons all along here, which is just like, don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Just do it.
Just do it.
And if it doesn't work, do it differently.
Yeah, exactly.
The pivot.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The power of the pivot.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the stores because when you first started launching them, I was a little surprised because it seems like an expensive proposition and retail was having trouble at the time and everything was kind of going digital. So why did you decide that stores were part of your DNA?
We didn't decide.
Okay.
We just did it. So my husband, we opened the first one
Mhm.
and women were lined up outside.
Mhm.
People came from all over, from Germany, and they would, it was like Mecca, them going because, they saw the things online, they ordered some things. And then we're like, wow, that's cool. We should have one in the city. Okay, well, and guess what? Every store is profitable.
Wow.
Every single store is profitable because why do something if it's not profitable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, but right now we have 10 stores, right? 10 stores, and we're going to probably open another 4 to 6, this year. And it's been really great. Like people love to go in and we've trained every artist. Now we've got to just enforce it. But I've trained every artist. I worked one day in the store and my head was going to blow up. Remember, like what product to tell someone. But then I devised this pad of paper, and when I put all the products down, and people could take a pen and just go these colors instead of thinking of the names and writing them down.
Right.
So I hacked that too. So hopefully everyone that goes in a store then will have their sheet of what colors were recommended, so they could
That's so smart.
order it.
Brilliant.
You know.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Any Sephora in your future?
No, we have one retail account in the world, and that's Liberty in London.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we have no plans and to do anything else. And
'Cause I'm sure they're calling.
I have turned,
Yeah.
all of them down because right now our business is growing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and 90% of our revenue comes from D2C.
Yeah.
So stores are 10%. Our head of retail thinks she can get the stores to 20%.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Wow.
By the way, everyone, Bobbi works with her family, and her son happens to be. I kind of hate LinkedIn, but he's the only good person on LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
He seems to be really incredible
He's incredible.
at the marketing.
He's
Yeah.
phenomenal. First of all, my son, who was, captain of the golf team, he was all about sports.
Yeah.
He went to college to play golf. He became a strength and conditioning coach. And anything he does, he puts his mind to it. He was the best strength and conditioning coach. And then him and his then girlfriend at the time, now wife, took this mastermind courses. I used to tell them they were in a cult. They would go to these courses a couple times a year with the same people. And when he came out, he started doing growth, like digital growth. He started a freelance for us, and he just literally quadrupled the business.
Wow.
And then he became the CMO, and then he became the CEO.
Wow.
And it's quite something to watch the smartest guy in the room be your son.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So who's the real boss? You or
That is a good question. And if he was here, he would laugh and I would laugh. And, it's really, we've worked really hard on our relationship, our work relationship. In the beginning, on Saturday morning, we would talk on the phone, and he would quit every Saturday morning. And I just let him talk. And I'm like, no, Cody, I need you. No, Cody. And so we've learned how to communicate.
Mhm.
I know that he gets upset with me when I just say what's on my mind without thinking how I'm going to say it.
Mhm.
So I've had to calm down a bit and, figure out how to communicate with him.
Yeah.
And we have a deal. I'm not allowed to say to him, you don't have the experience, and he's not allowed to say to me, Mom, they don't do it like that anymore.
Oh.
So those are our two things.
Yeah.
Good
Those feel like hot
boundary.
buttons.
Yeah.
For
Right.
sure.
No, they're totally hot buttons.
Yeah.
That's great.
We need to ask about what's coming up next with Jones Road because, again, for the uninitiated, in 1991, you created 10 Bobbi Brown essentials, the wardrobe of lipsticks. They were named after famous women. Like
No, they weren't named after.
they were
famous women.
not.
They
Or
were
they were inspired by?
No,
Oh.
well, very close. They were named of what the colors look like.
I see.
They were as exciting as brown and beige
Right.
and pink
Right.
Yeah.
and orange. I mean, who gets a lipstick orange and calls it orange?
Right. Right.
My mother, I think, was the only one that really liked it. But anyways.
No, for some reason I thought the ruby was like a sheer red inspired by Carolyn.
Yes,
But maybe that's
yes.
internet lore. I don't know.
No. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. No, it's
okay.
true. But they were named what the colors
Right,
look like.
I
That was
see.
always my thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very practical
Yeah.
names then.
Yes.
So this month, we're very excited that you're introducing the Jones Road Classic Lip. Tell us about these.
It's funny. It was not an intentional thing. It just, again, one of those things. It just happened. I realized looking at the product calendar that my book is coming out September 23rd, and our new lipsticks are, most traditional makeup product that is very non-traditional because it's a modern version is coming out like a week before,
Mm-hmm.
the 18th of September. And there's 12 colors based on our lip pencil formula and our lip pencil colors.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 12 of them. And I also, in my head, knew that I'd be telling the story of launching the first lipsticks, and people would, kind of compare.
Yeah.
They're different.
Mhm.
They're a modern version of the classics, which is why we call them the classics.
Right. Let
Maybe-
us compare.
Yeah,
What-
let's.
what's
Can you
the
pick one up?
texture or-
Tell us your fave.
All right. Well, this is not the packaging, so
Mhm.
I have to go look. let's-
Behind the scenes,
All right,
everyone.
This is
Lab
this is
samples, our
labs-
favorite.
This is nude pink, which is not my color. It's your color.
Ah.
So try this.
Okay. I'm going to
And
try it on my hand first
This
of all.
one
Ooh,
is
gorge.
rosewood, which
Oh, wait,
is a
this
little
is my camera.
stronger.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is it.
Swatching.
Beautiful. This is what it would
Oh,
look
that
like.
will look good on your Carlene. Nice.
It would. It actually kind of reminds me of a MAC one I used to wear.
Put it on your
back in the
bottom lip.
day. Oh, can I?
And you'll.
yeah?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll leave these with you.
Live swatching.
Yeah. And just smack
And-
your lips and tell me what it feels like. Well, you have a lipstick on also.
I do. It feels very creamy, and it's comfortable.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's very well. First of all, I don't look good in red, so I'm not trying. But there is a beautiful red, and
And these are full pigment. It
they're
looks
they're
like,
full
Yeah.
pigment,
not sheer.
but they are. It's the weirdest thing. They're full pigment, but when you put them on, they're not dense,
Mm,
Mhm.
and they stay on your lips, but they're not dry.
Mhm.
I'm excited about them.
Yeah.
very cool. And I think it's very apropos that you're going back to sort of
I love
It's-
this color.
it's an essential, but they're not Bobbi Brown essentials. They're Jones Road essentials.
This is nude pink. Is that what you
This
have?
is nude rose.
Okay,
You're nude
I'm
rose,
nude
and
pink.
I'm tawny nude.
Okay.
Ooh,
All
I love-
right.
That's very 90s.
We've all got our nudes, everyone. You're a makeup artist after all, so we need to get a few makeup tips from
Sure.
you. Sarah from our Instagram wants to know tips for covering dark circles without looking cakey.
Yeah, well, that is a challenge, but I think I have figured it out. And I won't tell you about the 2 new concealers that'll be coming out, that
Mm.
full
Ooh.
coverage concealers that don't look cakey. That's, and I have very dry under eye
Okay.
area.
Are we talking 2026 here?
We're talking
maybe?
2026.
Okay.
Do what? Any in 2020? No, nothing in 2025.
Okay, okay.
2026. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's one in 2027, which I'm fighting them to do it in 2026.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. Because we have so many things on our pipeline. But you start with a touch of eye cream and then use our face pencils. Now we have face pencils that you can use to cover any redness, any blemish. You could use them all over your face, but you don't need to. They are made with a clear base, so when you put the pigment in them, they don't get all like gray and ashy.
Mhm.
So when you cover a blemish, you don't see it when you turn your head to the side. And it's the same thing underneath. If you have dark circles, choose a neutralizer color first, either one that's pinky or peachy. I go pinky peach. I'm kind of in the middle. You guys would be more pinky.
Mhm.
Deeper skin would be more peach. And then you put one on top of it that's one shade lighter than your foundation.
Right.
And those two things together. And
Any
they're
setting at all under there?
you can set with powder.
Mhm.
I don't because I don't need it, but our face powders are like Japanese finely milled powders that are
Mhm.
tinted. So it doesn't get crack or get in
Right.
the lines.
Okay. And what's your favorite moisturizer for skin prep right now?
Well, I've been putting on first thing in the morning is right out of the tube is our sunscreen,
Okay.
which kind of has a weirdly blurring effect. I'm not the kind of marketer or company that says the word blurring, but
Right.
it kind of just makes things look a little better. And then I'll put the foundation on top or the Miracle Balm, depending if I
Right.
want foundation or not.
Right. Okay.
And when my skin is dry, most of the time I use the light moisture cream. When it's really dry in the winter, we have something called Miracle Cream, which is you have to break the seal. It's
Ooh.
cream and it's really nice.
Oh, I need to try that.
Yeah.
I love that. What about brows? I feel like as we age, our brows tend to get more sparse. What is your favorite way of dealing with that?
Well, I don't know if I'm low maintenance or lazy, but I like we have two different brow options. I like using the brush on brow because I just go like this and it's easy.
Mhm.
They're all tinted and there's a clear one. And then we have an eyebrow pencil that I've never seen anywhere else. It's fat,
Mhm.
but to a point, and it's got little teeny fibers in it.
Mhm.
So it makes your brows look fuller.
Okay.
And in a pinch, I use it between touch-ups.
Yeah, along the part.
The hairline,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart.
And then we're gonna do a fun round of rapid fire, but finally, you just opened another bricks and mortar store. We talked about those. What's exciting you the most right now? For
Um,
personally, professionally?
well, I have a lot of things personally. I mean, my granddaughter started pre-K today,
Oh,
So
which
cute.
which kind of brought me to tears how quickly 3 years happened.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to launch this book finally.
Mhm.
And I'm really excited about holiday. We have the best, most beautiful offering.
Mm.
I remember a year ago we all sat down and looked at everything we did for holiday, and I'm like, guys, we could do better. We could do better. And we
Mhm.
put our heads together, and I don't know. I'm worried what we're gonna do next year.
Yeah.
Holiday's so
Tell
good.
Okay.
yourself.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see. And
Yeah.
we will share.
Yeah. And any words of advice that you have kind of abided by? I know there's lots in your book, but something like that quote from Tina Brown that you talked about
Mhm.
that kind of you would like to leave our audience with.
Well, Leonard Lauder taught me never ask for permission,
Mhm.
just beg for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've used that many
He
times.
left quite a legacy,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And that's good
Yeah.
words to live by for
Yeah.
sure.
What's one thing that nobody knows about you?
You really think there's something left? Everyone knows I danced on stage with Flo Rida and Salt and Pepper. I don't know. Something that people don't know about me. That I get up in the morning and many mornings I just open up a drawer and organize it because it makes me feel in control.
Good one.
That actually was one of my other questions for you, which was what does your makeup drawer vanity look like? Is it organized chaos or is it everything has a place?
Well, right now everything has a place. Because I hired someone in my town who's an organizer.
Oh,
It was the greatest thing. Like I left with everything messy and I came home it all organized.
dream.
My problem is I'm trying to figure out what to do with. I have so much like gently used makeup that are my colors
Mhm.
that I don't, because every time I forget something, I grab it and all of a sudden I've got like 16, smoky brown eyeshadows. So I'm trying to figure out who can I donate gently used makeup to?
Yeah.
You know who my friend taught me this? I was
Yeah.
telling Jill, her name's Allison. I'm going to do a shout out because she's the most resourceful person, the
Wow.
kind of person who finds all the leftovers in your fridge and makes
Yeah.
something delicious.
Wow.
And so she takes my old used makeup
Yeah.
products. She got her husband to drive them to a morgue to a what do you call it? A
Ah,
mortician,
Yeah.
right.
and she donated them.
And they want them. Well, I bet they want mine because they're
Yeah.
natural looking. Actually, I've never told anyone this, but a woman came up to me at the Jones Road store in Chicago, and she was a mortician. She goes, I have to tell you, every single person gets Miracle Balm.
There you go.
I said, I don't think I'm going to tell people that, but I just did.
Yeah.
If you ever contact info, hey, call
Oh.
Bobby.
What a good idea.
It's actually brilliant. Good for Allison.
Yeah.
Thank you, Allison. I have a lot of books left over too.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby, you're all about being real, authentic. What does Bobbi Brown use Chat GPT for?
Oh my God. I love ChatGPT. I actually just sent one. I asked them a question about, if you've never heard of Jones Road or Bobbi Brown, or no, of Jones Road, the line created by Bobbi Brown, the person, how would you speak to it? And it was the most wonderful thing. Then I sent it to our copywriter, our head of education.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I also do the images. And the images, like I've taken my hotel and I made it, a collaboration with Louis Vuitton. And now I've got the George Hotel wrapped in Louis Vuitton.
Okay.
And,
Oh,
It's just fun stuff like that.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I wish my son for Mother's Day, my oldest son, gave me an hour lesson for Mother's Day. And we sat there and he taught me how to do all these things. He's really good at it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I use it every day now. It's my personal assistant.
Yeah.
I really
Like, what do you ask it?
Oh my gosh, so many things. What have I used it for lately? I can't even think of an
You
example.
said you were
on the
basically
hot
getting
seat.
your MBA on there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was, but that's a whole other story. Okay, what do you now know not to do in business?
Listen. Obey.
Okay. Obey. Yeah.
Obey.
What's the most bullshit marketing thing happening right now in the beauty industry?
Crepe erase. Those creams they sell. I don't know about that one brand, but they all say gets rid of crepiness. It's a friggin' moisturizer, people.
Yeah.
Nothing gets rid of crepiness. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facelift. And I'm with Dr. Diamond.
Okay, I don't know if do you invest in other businesses?
No.
You don't. Okay.
I mean, I do angel investment just to get them started, but yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Fill in the blank. You never feel dressed without.
My bra.
What's a book or a podcast or a movie that opened up a whole new world for you?
Well, I just saw a movie at the Telluride Film Festival called The Cycle of Love. I don't know where you can get it. It is the most, I still cry when I think about it, is the most incredible story of love and perseverance, and it's wonderful. And I want everyone to see it. I don't even know where it's playing, but it's, they have an Instagram and it's called The Cycle of Love.
Okay.
Put that in
we'll
Chat
link to it.
GPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your favorite hour of the day?
I have 2 hours. One of them is the first one and the other one is the last one because I'm by myself. And I get to, I go down, I get my water, my coffee, I go back to bed and I open up my iPad, read the paper, drink my coffee. And there's just something, it's like, I need that. And then I do the same thing at night when I say goodnight to my husband when he's about to watch another show. I go upstairs and I kind of do the same thing backwards.
Yeah.
And I just decompose and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a 5 a.m. club person?
I'm not. I'm a 6 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And our last question for you, do you still give out lipsticks at Halloween?
I don't. I had to move. And I'm not in town this year for Halloween. So,
Aw.
yeah.
Okay. Well, you have new lipsticks you could be giving out.
exactly.
Missed
I know.
opportunity
But
gifting.
you cannot imagine. We literally used to give away 2,500 lipsticks at
Wow.
Halloween.
Wow.
And then my neighbors had to keep up with the demand,
Oh my gosh.
right? Because they all had,
Right.
they needed more candy because people would come.
Right.
And it honestly started, my husband started, of course, there's some teenage girls, give them some lip gloss. And I'd run in. But there was a woman in our town, she still does it. She's a VP at Scholastic, and kids get books,
Oh,
you know,
amazing.
That's
so
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
maybe
you
one
were a
more thing.
popular house. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Uh,
pod today. We learned so much. The time has flown by, and we will have you again.
Aw, thank you so much. I really
Yes.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.